John, your relatively new show is called Mag Mel.
Yes,
Can you tell people what the show is about?
No, the show does have a narrative. It's basically a musical show, right?
Yeah.
Traditional Irish music. Tells the story of a PJ and a fellow by the name of PJ Foley and a bunch of musicians who don't know one another, but they're all in the face for the one reason.
Yeah.
Unknown to themselves, basically. It's because for some strange reason they've been summoned there, but they're unknown to themselves. There's a higher power that brings them together, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think PJ ever thought in his life he'd be spending time with musicians, because he's the complete opposite in some ways. He's a would-be politician, local politician and businessman, you know.
Yeah.
And he ends up with these 5 musicians on this island, you know. And but I suppose the reason they're there is because the island or the place or wherever we are, in special, just using the island as Mag Mel as the location, is under threat.
Yeah.
And the band Fassa, who's probably one of the main characters in it, feels that like we've just lost the run of ourselves and it's time to sit down, take freaking big deep breath and just realise what we have, you know, and start all over again, you know.
Yeah. Who conceived the idea, John? Was it a combination of yourself and Des and Conlo Grotto?
Yeah, it's not much of collaboration, you know, when you sit down with people and, God, we don't be taking notes who does what or who puts in what ideas, but I suppose it developed out of something we started out with. The original idea was obviously that interest in doing something different with traditional music, you know, being traditional musicians. And they asked me would I get involved with Des and just try and come up with something different, you know, because I'd done some session work with Penny before, musician, you know, when he'd done some songs and stuff with him, and so we kind of had worked together before, but never anything like this. But when we started out doing it, we suddenly realised that like we kind of did really need to, rather than we need to create our own story, obviously, to suit what we had. Yeah. And what we had was 4 musicians who probably never acted before, but who wanted to do something different with traditional music. Yeah. So that was it, really. So to devise our own story was obviously the thing to do, and so we kind of designed the show around what we had, which was everyone's talents, and between musicians and singer and what we had, like, and Des doing the puppetry. Well, Des is a musician as well, and a fine musician. So we kind of just devised it around ourselves. Now, how can we make this work, you know? And so I suppose the storyline kind of grew out of necessity, or out of just what we had, you know what I mean? The availability of our talents that were there, like, you know. There was no point in writing something where we needed a 50-piece orchestra and we needed a chorus line or we needed something. So we kind of devised it that way, and so in a sense, like, there's only 8 in the cast. There's the musicians, myself, Des, and Katie Holly, who's a singer-songwriter and actress, and that's the cast of the show.
Yeah. John, visually it looks amazing. I was on its website. Just for people who are listening, the website address is magmelshow.com. That's MAGMELL show.com. Yes. And there's a YouTube clip for people to get some flavour of what the show is about. John, can I be bold enough to read the description of the show to supplement what you just
probably
described?
Can, because I'll tell you, when people ask me, and I'm in the show, I'm actually down at the moment at rehearsals, and I find it very hard to describe the show, because
I understand.
People have said the show is an experience. That's one way that and if you say to someone, well, tell us about the show, and you just say, well, it's an experience.
Well,
but
it sure
is. I mean, it is an experience in a lot of ways. I mean, in all your senses, visually, you know, to your eyes, ears, and to your heart, like, you know.
It looks like a feast for the senses, all right. This is the description on the website for people listening. Mag Mel, an absolutely unique Irish experience. Mag Mel is a powerfully moving dramatic show filled with sensational visuals, stirring, newly composed music and exuberant dance. It is a creative adaptation of old Irish ghost and folk tales that tells a truly modern story. Welcome to the mythical island of Mag Mel off the west coast of Ireland. An isle fabled for eternal peace and happiness is about to be rocked as the greed and materialism of the 21st century collide with the ancient wisdom and beauty of Mother Earth. With the help of characters drawn from the world of fairies and ghosts, Mother Earth, in the guise of the band Fassa, wise woman, responds by unleashing all her creative energies, her fury, her pain, her vision and her compassion, as she strives to save the island of Magmel from destruction. A wild mix of dance, music, theatre and puppetry give expression to these whirling forces as they lead to a climax of transformation and ultimately redemption. Theatrically captivating from the start, the show creates a carnival atmosphere, dark, dangerous and anarchic at times. Light, happy and delightful too. Humour abounds. There is no time to think as you enter a mesmerising world of music, colour and rhythm and become absorbed by a thrilling story that unfolds with originality and imagination. Walk into this new and exciting landscape that is the result of a unique collaboration by Jon Kenny, Des Dillon, artist, Benny McCarthy, musician and Conal O'Grada. John, can you tell people where they can buy tickets?
Well, we're not going to say. I think just at the venues, really, at the venues around the country where we're touring. Like, so, all the venues will have tickets on sale.
Again, John, can I read out the venues very quickly?
You can. You're better than I am. You're very good.
You can hire me. I'll give you my number, John. So, the 10th to the 5th, the show Magmel is playing at Millennium Theatre, Limerick. That's this Saturday night. The 15th of this month as well, the Great Helix Centre in Dublin. The 24th of this month, that's May, the Town Hall Theatre, Galway. The 28th of May this month, the Theatre Royal. These are all 8 o'clock shows. The Theatre Royal in Waterford. The 29th of May this month, the Theatre Royal in Waterford again. And finally, the Everyman Palace in Cork on the 30th. So, as John says, you can purchase the tickets at those venues.
Yes, yeah.
You're proud of the show, John?
I am. I'm very excited about it now. I can't wait to get it out there. You know, I just want people to come in and enjoy it and enjoy the performances of it. And you know, it's coming. We're finishing up now. We've our bit done. It's about time to let it off.
Yeah,
it's like we're having a child.
Well, jeez, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. It's something different anyway. I can guarantee you that. Like,
yeah, it certainly looks it and sounds it. John, we're just moving on from Magmel. You're one of the most instantly recognisable faces in Ireland. I presume when you walk the streets, a lot of people say, there's Jon Kenny or there's your man from Dunbelievables. When people say things like, tell us a joke, John, what do you say to them? Do you have a stock answer?
No, I don't really. I don't. I just tend to talk to people. I'm always kind of, and I still am because a good few years, myself and Pat, well, we did a bit of a tour a few years ago. We went back a few gigs, you know.
Yeah. And
it was great, but I'm always kind of, it's great. I mean, being a performer, being an entertainer, I think that I'm this far in my life. And I remember when I started out just thinking, I'm going to give this a go and see can I survive with this crack, you know.
And what age were you, John, when you decided to give it a go?
Well, I was about 16.
Wow.
So, but I was playing with a band then, and I stayed with the band for a good few years. And then I gave that up, and I went away and I worked at a dance and a mime company for 4 years.
Playing saxophone with the band, were you?
No, singing.
Wow.
Singing, playing guitar. So then just kind of moved on, and you're still at it, and you find I'm still at it now, and I'm in my 50s, and still doing stuff, you know. So it's kind of, it's nice when people, because they're the people that allowed me to do what I wanted to do in life, and still allow me to do what I want to do in life, and I suppose I should be very grateful for that, like, you know.
Well, I think we should be very grateful for having a talent like you, John. Are you a born performer? Is it something you've been doing since you popped out of the womb?
I think so. I suppose I have. I've always been, I think as far back as I can remember, sometimes I used to go around to houses singing for money when I was young. I didn't have to wait for the rain. I was bolder than that, like, you know. I had a kind of a set list, and I go around, and if they had visitors in the house.
Did you ever busk in Limerick or in Dublin?
I did a busk in New York, and I busked everywhere.
Oh my God.
I was only talking about it today with one of the lads who said, we have a young actor on the show with us. He's just joined us last week. We needed an extra pair of hands, and he's given. He was talking about busking, and I did a lot of that in my time. But I always enjoyed it. You know, we did street theatre as well, and busking, you know. I mean, performing is performing. Like, I mean, you can see some of the. I've seen some of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. Not inside the door of a theatre, I'll tell you. Yeah. It's there's a great world out there. There's amazing people doing great stuff in the greatest of places, you know. So it's you know, you never know where it is. So
Yeah.
Yes, it's good. It's a good old journey, you know, we can't complain.
John, just the final negative aspect of performing with, a man in your position is in a social context, like say the bar or function, despite the fact that you might be off sometimes, some people expect you to entertain them all the time.
Well, it depends. You often, you know, you either put yourself into that situation or you know, I think that's very much up to yourself. I think, you know, when you're younger, you probably do find yourself in more situations like that out of naivety more than anything else. And even when you don't want any, I think as you get older, you just get a bit wiser to the whole thing. And I mean, there's nothing I enjoy more now than going out into a little pub and having a session going on, you know, or singers sing, fellas telling stories or something, you know, when it's done in some kind of an organised way, not too organised now, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're with a group of people and no matter who's doing what, like this is standing on his head, like you get a round of applause, and then someone will come up and he could give you a shot of Shakespeare, someone come along and give you the Rocky Horn. And I kind of like when people get together and sing or play music. I love that, and I love to be part of that.
Is Ireland relatively unique in that aspect?
I think it's something that we've managed to hold on to. Unfortunately, I know where I live, I say we've only one place left. I said the last bastion of civilization left in County Limerick. Because unfortunately, you know, there was a lot of good things. I mean, it wasn't just the pub, like, I mean, you know, I think that the pub has got a lot of negative stuff going on too. But then again, a lot of pubs are kind of a lot of negative stuff in them anyway. I mean, but when you go to a pub that's there and there's people communicating and talking, and that's the essence. It's not television screen or it's not anything else. You know, but a gathering of people where they can, as I can say, sing or do something like that. That's the kind of night I like, and I think that's the thing that I have a theory in my head. I reckon in about 10 years' time or 15 years' time, they'll be giving grants to people to open pubs in rural Ireland because they'll have actually disappeared altogether.
Wow, and that is a very interesting theory, and probably going to happen, as you said.
Well, it's a bit frightening. I mean, as I say, around where I live, we had so many good houses that were really interesting, and even to go in there as a young person, when I was much younger, there was an awful lot to be learned even from the people who ran these places and the people that were inside them. They had great colour and character and wisdom even, and you know, even as a youngster, you kind of, there was so much to be learned from, you know.
Absolutely.
With regards to their songs and stories and just even the way they behaved themselves. I mean, there were amazing people who'd been through amazing hard times, but always managed to be able to go out, whether it was a Thursday night or a Friday night, and you know, just sit down and have their few pints and tell a few stories, sing a few songs. I mean, that amazing kind of richness that we have in our culture, because I suppose we are pretty unique. I mean, you'll hardly throw a stone in Ireland without hitting someone who plays some kind of an instrument, who can't, you know, who doesn't sing a song or know a song. And I mean, that's what Mag Mell is kind of saying in its own way too. Mag Mell is saying that, like, you know, we were rich in so much, like, you know, I mean, and it's not necessarily the pounds, shillings, and pence, but I mean, our real richness is in our soul, and it's in us. You know, that's our culture. You know, I mean, trying to define culture is a very difficult thing. It gets you know, it's a big thing. It's a much bigger thing than, you know, music society. It's what we are. It's something that's in our genes, maybe even, you know. And I think Mag Mell is that's what Mag Mell is trying to say, really, in its own way too. You know, that we're all, don't lose that. Is what it's saying. Like, you know, it's just too precious to lose. You know. Yeah,
it was funny. Because you led me perfectly up to the next question, John. And it's politically and financially, the country is a bit of a mental hospital at the moment. Do you think as so-called Irish people, we kind of don't know who we are anymore?
Well, I think we became very close to losing something. You know, to define who we are as a people or what Ireland is as a nation, I don't think, to me, is something that people have really thought about for a while, you know. Yeah. I think Michael D as a president is someone who we've been very lucky with the presidents we've had, you know. You know, you wonder, like, did they have a do people do they really sit down and say, like, what kind of a country do we want to have? Yeah. I mean, that even goes down to, like, what's the whole do we have a vision of what we are? Do we have a vision of who we want to be? And you sometimes think we do lack, I think, some kind of vision or clarity in that. And there was, I don't think we shouldn't be any more kind of inferior or feel inferior now that we have to run away from ourselves. I think that the old and the new can easily sit down together and coexist, you know. But there was a huge fear that it just shows how vulnerable we are as a people, to think that, like, the madness that went on, and to be honest about it, the country, you know, I mean, we destroyed it, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an awful thing to say, like, and before our very eyes, like, you know.
John,
Euro was made.
You're meeting a lot of people, and you've travelled around the world a lot, and you get a flavour of Irish people in general. Do you think there's much sunshine among all the misery at the moment? I don't want to be painting such a complete doom and gloom picture of it, but do you think there's much sunshine or hope, or, you know, optimism there among everybody?
I think our biggest resource is our people, you know.
Yeah.
And I think absolutely. And people are amazing. Like, I mean, it's amazing what people do in Ireland. Like, I mean, the sense of community in Ireland is huge. It's a very strong thing. Like, and I know there's often a fear when you mention community. People think, well, rural. They think rural straight away. They think, but no, even urban community, they shouldn't be disheartened. Really, like, I mean, it's because we have a frightful situation, I suppose, where we know ourselves that, like, you could nearly, I won't say a handful, but when you take 4.5 million people, I mean, it is basically a handful of people who destroyed what we had, like, really, who bankrupt this country. Yeah. A handful. I mean, the majority of people are sound people who just want to get on with their lives and, you know, just enjoy their lives as much as they can and improve their lot and hope that their kids grow up happy and healthy and, you know, and do well for themselves, you know. And I think that's a very basic thing. I think we're still very rooted, like, you know, we've lost that at all. And I think we have a gift, there's no doubt about it. I mean, anywhere you go in the world, like, something about, I don't know, we seem to have a way with being able to get on with people as well. You
seem like the embodiment of the best aspects of what the Irish person is about. You seem genuine, very, very genuinely genuine, if there's such a phrase. Yeah. Would that be a fair description, or in general, you're probably going to play yourself down, but are you as laid back in your personal life as you appear, certainly, in your public life?
Yeah, I am, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose I am. I am really, like, I mean, I don't make it complicated. I try not to overcomplicate things, you know. And it's I suppose the problem in today's society, like, where there's so much coming at you, like, and the mind is fucking racing all the time. You're wondering, like, you know, have to do this, have to do, you know, they just stop. A lot of that stuff has. I mean, I'm very lucky, I suppose. I was a bit of a workaholic, and I did the other thing for a while, and I suddenly realised, whoa, slow down here, you know, what are you rushing through life for? Take your time. Let's move fast enough anyway, you know.
What do you do, John, at the moment, generally, to relax?
Well, I'm kind of working pretty hard, but I'm enjoying my work, you know. It's just amazing when you enjoy something that you don't even look at it on, like, working. Sometimes you come back and you could be gone all day, and, well, this week now, Ed, wasn't back from rehearsals until 9, 10 o'clock each night. That's gone all day. Like, it's a long day, you know, since 5:30 in the morning. But you kind of go, when you've had a good day, you achieve something, you know. You got something done, you know. And if it works, it works. And you say, somebody said to me, geez, if it doesn't work after all the work you put into it, and you just say, well, you know, I still enjoyed it, like, you know. I mean, it's lovely to be able to, you know, to spend your time creating something or coming up with ideas and then putting it on and just go, look, if it works, it works. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't either. Like, let's give it a shot.
Do you think too many people get caught up in the results at the expense of enjoying the process?
Yeah, I suppose it's how you measure things, you know. It's all about measuring things again, like, you know. There's unfortunately, you know, there's a line in the show, like, where PJ says to Van Fassel, like, you know, she says, you know nothing about time, you know, and he says, I do time, it's money, he says, you know.
Yeah.
And that's his whole philosophy in life, like, you know. Yeah. And then she tells him, he says, you know, simple lines like, where you stand. He says, I don't know where I stand. And she says, you just stand, she said, between the veil of this world and the next is where you stand, she says, you know.
Beautiful.
It sounds a bit heavy, but
it doesn't sound heavy. Who wrote the script? Who wrote the lines, not the dialogue and everything?
Oh, after myself, wouldn't you know? The depressing.
No, it's great.
There's a lot of humour in him as well. But in the middle of it all he can think about is freaking lamb chops, you know. He left lamb chops in a bag, you know.
Yeah, beautiful.
The world is falling around and down his ears, and all he can think about is his dinner. What time is the dinner at?
Isn't it funny how, as Irish people, we tend to feel like we have to qualify or apologise if we say anything remotely what's perceived as heavy or anything out of the ordinary or anything mildly philosophical?
I suppose so, yeah, to some extent, yeah. We have a tendency to, I suppose, not speak about the beautiful or the happy or the joyful and that's not in a religious sense or in any way at all. Like, it's just a kind of those words even are some things that, like, you know, they don't come easy, you know. They're they don't seem to flow very easy from us, and yet we have them, like, and then again, that's what the show is saying. That's what Mag Mel is saying. Like, Mag Mel is saying, you're full of this joy, you're full of this happiness. Don't lose it, you know.
Yeah.
You know. So,
do you read much, John?
Not as much as I should do, you know. But I do. Yeah, I mean, I read most nights before I shut the eyes. Now, you know, that'd be my.
Well, that's a lot.
It used to be a gin and tonic before, or a half a bottle of gin, but now it's a book. That's old age.
Do you drink, John?
Oh, I do, yeah. Jeez, I do, yeah.
Would you
no, not as much at all as I used to, you know.
Right.
I feel like going up to Mary's for the session and pints, you know, and they're lovely.
Right.
You could look forward to them, like, you know.
You think
once a week now will do me, you know.
I know what you mean.
That's enough.
You think with age we're all able to drink less?
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The old body is, you know, the mileage is on the clock, I think, you know. It's just, we're putting it up all the time, but just as well, sure.
Absolutely.
Slow down some bit.
What are you reading at the moment, John? Can you?
Oh, God, what am I reading? I'm reading, what did I start reading? I'm reading the book of the Irish guy. He wrote a book called Julian Wilson.
Yeah.
A few years ago I read it. It was really nice, and someone's after giving me a book with his name. I think his name. Gerald something, or David Gerald. He's a Galway writer. He's based in New York.
Yeah.
But Julian Wilson was a lovely book. I remember reading it, and so I'm reading a book of short stories of his at the moment, and I'm reading a book called Out Stealing Horses by a Norwegian guy. It's a nice book as well, yeah.
Where would you come across stuff like that?
I'm very lucky. I have a sister-in-law who's a librarian, and she knows exactly what makes me what I like. So I find, rather than having to go to the page getting shite books, she knows exactly, and I end up reading.
And she's usually spot on.
She's good now. Northline, you know, the guy who wrote Northline and Lean and P.
I don't, but I appreciate it.
Really nice novels, you know. But I'm lucky because I'm very bad. I'm dyslexic myself. You see.
I know, yeah.
So the reading is kind of slow, but it's improved a bit down through the years. But no, it's great when you have someone who said, "This is for you. You get this one. You'd love this one," and she's normally spot on. She knows exactly where the head is, so she gets me the books I like. So,
John, you've been asked extensively about your dyslexia, and I've heard you speak about there are different forms of dyslexia, and you even, if I can paraphrase it probably very badly, said you're not even probably quite sure the type of dyslexia you have. But basically, how does it affect you? You say, do you have trouble reading or speed?
Yeah, reading mainly, reading in numbers sometimes. There is, the reading is still a problem with me, you know. It's quite slow. Just get letters jumbled up and that, you know what I mean? And how do you say it? You know, it's like nearly like a word blindness. Really, I have to be very careful. I'm pretty good. And then I think a lot of it too, well, not a lot for me was confidence, you know.
Yeah.
In the early days, I suppose having it was like, sure, it was just you might as well have had leprosy or something.
I know.
We got half a bait and sort of together. So suddenly there's this kind of, oh God, anytime you see anything in writing, it's amazing. You just kind of, oh no, or if somebody asks me to spell something, fill out forms, I can fill them out on my own, but if anyone is watching me, right. I just have to stop and say, how do you spell that? Because I know I'm going to make it right. I just can't do it. And it's just purely, it's kind of a nervous thing nearly now, even at this stage of my life, that's a bait into me, you know.
I know what you mean.
Did you go to a Christian Brother school, John? I did a Sal for a while, yeah.
Is that a Christian Brother school?
Well, yeah, they were sort of older, weren't they, brothers from Waterford. Ignatius Rice was the man who So,
yeah, the reason I'm asking, John, is because I went to one myself, and I know the crack.
All right.
But also a friend of mine, he's 60 years of age, and he's a phenomenal jazz guitarist, and he's got a master's in jazz performance and everything. Anyway, he was beaten around for sport when he was a kid. He's got dyslexia, but he's a phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player, but he teaches now in UCC and everything, and it was documentary on Nationwide, and he explains the whole thing. So, do you think, as you say, when you're filling out a form, you kind of get a little bit paranoid probably when people around you. Do you think it's just the old thoughts of the Christian brothers and the teachers from times gone?
Oh yeah, it's the demons in the past. Right. Surely, that's completely it. Like totally, they're still there haunting me. Yeah. It's an awful thing to say, but it's just like your body kicks into that. It's as if you're back there again. It's a weird old thing. But I suppose if you have 6, 7, 8, 9 years of that. And, it was fairly hard, like, really, when you think about it,
Jeez, yeah.
And you kind of, it would have some effect on you, like, you get through it, you get on with it. I don't dwell in the rent, but I know, in my own mind, that's that whole thing kicking in again, and I know why. But you look at that was it, they knew no better, there was an ignorance there abounding, and that was it,
Well, that's
you
for
were
sure.
thinking that was it.
Isn't it phenomenal, a man like yourself that reads every night and who's written the dialogue and the narrative and everything for a show like you've just written, that those old memories resurface still?
Yeah. I suppose it is a bit crazy, yes, it is, but it'll just show you, I suppose that to show you how fragile we are.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
We are fairly fragile bits of goods, really. And I know I'm kind of laughing at it now, but there was times when I wasn't, when you do what the world made for you at all, like, did you fit in at all? Were you really that stupid, like?
I know what you mean.
So it can be a cruel world, but I suppose people, I'm sure God knows the poor fellas that did it to us, they probably had it done to them as well. They probably came out of awful backgrounds altogether.
Yeah, you probably got off lightly.
Violence,
compared to what they went through. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, John, now we're in the deep depths of misery. I know you don't like talking about what you went through health-wise, but can I just ask you a simple question? Despite the health horrors you famously went through, you say you don't like talking about it, and that's very understandable. But I hope it's all right to ask you how you're feeling these days, health-wise.
Oh, sure, good. I'm feeling good, and that's it. Like, so I'm feeling good. Get up, and I'm feeling the energy is good, and the levels are good. The mind is good, I think so. I think that's fine by me. That's my health, I suppose.
Yeah. You sound tip-top.
Broad sweep of the brush. But,
you still feel 10 years younger with your new heart.
I'm flying it.
Yeah.
It's a right job of me.
Jeez, it must be very demanding, John, the show. I looked at the video, and it looks incredibly multidisciplined, and you're talking about, even the hours you described you're rehearsing. Where do you get the energy and stamina to be rehearsing and performing like that?
I don't know. I think you just find it, but when I go home now, you do sleep, like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be reading a couple of chapters now. I could be gone after a few pages.
Yeah.
After a long day's rehearsal, but that's it, like. Yeah. It is, but it's good, like, to do it. I don't even think about my age or anything. I just go, like, come on, let's do it, That's what it's for, like, let's just get stuck in and do it. And, so...
You're eternally quiet. Are you a youthful
type? I suppose I unfortunately have, like, if my daughter gives out to me, she says, Dad, you're wearing double denim,
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, I'd be wearing denim jeans, whatever, like, which is grand, but I'd be wearing a denim shirt as well.
Oh, right.
Still wearing denims, I never got out of the denims, Never bought the suit, like, Do
you mind me asking, you have 2 kids, have you?
Yes.
What age are they now?
Harry is 21. And just 21, and Lee is just 18, so...
Oh, sure, you're in that phase.
They're nearly ready.
Fair play, well done. John, you're clearly incredibly creative in a wide range of disciplines. Which art form gives you the most pleasure?
Oh, God, I don't know, really. It's any art form done well, I think, or... I don't know, they're all not done well, but... In
terms of what you do you get a huge amount of pleasure from your musicianship?
Yeah, I love music. I love songs. I do. Yeah, I must say I do. It's probably one of my favorites. And it's something I haven't given an awful lot of time to in my life, but I still do.
Did dyslexia get in the way of learning an instrument?
Oh God, no. If anything, it's completely the opposite, you know.
Right.
Because it's you don't have those restrictions, you know. You're free with an instrument. An instrument frees you, like. It's freedom, isn't it? The voice is free, like, and music is free, like, and you know.
Do you read music?
It doesn't. I used to a lot better of them, but I've done that in years and years, and you go out of practice, you know.
Yeah.
But I could still manage, I suppose, to get my head around it again, like, but I haven't read in years, you know.
Yeah.
Sure, I'd be busking anyway. A bit of a jammer, you know.
Yeah. John, of all the things you've done, which achievement are you most proud of?
That's an achievement, seriously, I don't know. God.
You have to pick one.
I don't know. Well, I think I did a play a few years ago with Miles Breen. We did Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood. We did that in two-handed.
Wow.
And I'd love to bring that back again if we get some time in the next few years. I don't think enough of people saw it. I thought we did just a beautiful. I'm going to say that now, and I don't very rarely say this about anything I ever do, but I actually really thought we really brought it. It was lovely. It was a beautiful piece, you know. But the language is beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I know it well.
And the physical, but we brought to it, but Miles brought to it as well. The two of us. It was just a good match, the two of us. And I think we both brought something to it. And I mean, it worked really well for us, you know. I'd love to go back and do that again as a piece, you know, because I'd love people to see it. Because it's such a magical piece, you know. And it's savage. There's everything in it, like, you know, it's sadness, sorrow, savagery, love. You know, everything is there, like. So, yeah. I think Under Milkwood would rate as one of the, I think I'd be most proud of, you know, of anything I've ever done, you know.
Beautiful.
So.
We're nearly there, John. How would you like to be remembered? You're not dead yet, but how would you like to be remembered?
Yeah, I don't know, I suppose, sure. I don't know, just grand.
Grand. You like to be
grand. Sure, wouldn't be grand. That's doing me.
What would you like on your headstone? It's not suggesting anything, but
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think about. Actually, I know I'm not going to have a headstone anyway. You know, I'm going to get a big lump of granite.
Yeah.
Because I thought of carving it myself at the moment, actually. And so I'm looking out for a nice piece of rock at the moment, and I'm just going to do it like an old standing stone, maybe with a bit of home writing on it, you know.
Lovely.
And I don't know what I'd put down on it. I'll have to put down my name and my date, maybe. That'll be it. That's enough.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
John Kenny, on behalf of Conversations with the Cream and the Festival and Gig Guide, thank you so much.
Not at all. Thanks for having me.
Listen, thanks a million, John, and good luck with your show.
Not at all. Thanks a million. Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.